tech.mn CTO Spotlight. I'm Jac Stark, and I'm joined here with Nels Pederson from Livefront, our sponsor. And we are welcoming Dr. Achintya Bhowmik here, the CTO and Executive Vice President of Starkey Hearing. Welcome, Dr. Bhowmik. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, let's just kick it off. We'd love to hear your story of where you started and how you got to Starkey Hearing.
That was great. So I am now 3 years at Starkey. I took over the research, development, engineering groups at Starkey. So I was at Intel for 17 years, where I was vice president for perceptual computing group. So that field of engineering is about developing machines with human-like intelligence. So as you think, 5 to 10 years ago, this was in research, where people dreamed about developing machines that would recognize faces, understand voice, and they would be able to navigate by themselves out in the wild. Where are those examples now? We read about autonomous cars that can drive by themselves, or drones that can fly around without bumping into trees or running into homes. Mm-hmm. Intelligent systems that can see, hear, and understand the world. Well, we also see mobile devices, computers that are smart and they recognize our faces, and you don't need passwords to log in. So all of these are examples of artificial intelligence built on top of sensors and advanced computing technologies that make machines smart. So that was my work at Intel. And when I was approached by Starkey to revolutionize hearing aids with these advanced technologies, machine learning, artificial intelligence, embedded sensors, connectivity, IoT technologies, Internet of Things. So that was an amazing opportunity to literally take a product that was already saving people's lives by helping them connect with their loved ones and bring many more capabilities to it. And hence I made that switch 3 years ago, moved from a consumer technology company to a medical technology company, and no looking back. It's been a fascinating ride since then.
That's awesome. That's amazing. What was the jump into healthcare like and med devices? Right. I'm curious what you thought of that.
So I'd say that was actually one of the key elements that helped me make the decision. There was a lot of hesitation in jumping from a large public company where I had a very big group and a big budget to a relatively smaller company. But at the end, after weeks of discussion, the opportunity to use advanced technology in the area where the result of that work actually helps improve people's lives, right? That had an additional appeal to it, appeal my inner being, where I didn't really think I would be so deeply interested in medical and healthcare. But once I learned about the opportunities and actually met with our customers and patients who use the products and devices and how these devices are impacting their life positively, it really compelled me to move forward and make the decision to switch.
And what have you been able to bring with you from Intel over into Starkey?
Oh, that's a great question. So I would say, it's Intel was one of the companies that almost defined Silicon Valley, right? It's called Silicon Valley because all of the semiconductor processors and technologies that have literally changed the world. The world today is built on the economy that's been enabled by advances in computing technologies. So Intel was one of those front-running companies. So when I finished my graduate degree, I got my PhD and got an opportunity to join Intel in their research division to push forward the field of computing. It was a dream come true. And besides the advanced technology, it was also the culture. Led by Andy Grove, those days, Intel had the culture of only the paranoid survive. That means don't rest on your laurels. Don't rest on your laurels. Push the technology forward. So this relentless drive for advancing technology, just to give an example, the first microprocessor that the world saw from Intel in 1971 had 2,300 transistors on the chip. Today, there are tens of billions of transistors built into the same little chip.
Jeez.
That's just exponential improvement that has happened in computing technology, which has literally changed the world, right? And so that's the drive for moving technology forward that has been ingrained in me by the early mentors and leaders at Intel. And of course, now the whole world, you see a lot of great companies that have adopted the same style of relentless pursuit of advanced technology. Healthcare is catching up. That was one of my observations as I started to learn about this field 3 years ago, just how much opportunity existed in bringing those advanced technologies that were literally changing the rest of the world, but they were not in this space of assistive medical products such as hearing aids. So I would love to explain to you what you've done in the last 3 years in literally redefining what was known to be hearing aids. And as Brandon Saulich, our president, says, in the last 3 years, we brought hearing aids to the 21st century with the same advanced technologies that are at the heart of things like autonomous cars. I'd love to explain those, but
Yeah,
the opportunity.
yeah, please do. And I'd love to hear kind of over that process of 3 years, how your team has handled that research and development, because I can't imagine it happened overnight, right? So please dive into that. That'd be awesome.
Okay. So the way to do this, first, I don't know how many of your viewers are familiar with hearing aids or hearing devices, but I know everybody is probably familiar with Bluetooth headsets, like let's say, something like Apple AirPod, and there are a number of other good products. So you can see here, I'm wearing on my left, and we see a lot of people walking around with Bluetooth headsets these days. So one of my favorite tricks when I go back to Silicon Valley and talk to my friends who are not familiar with hearing aids, what I tell them is look at the device on the left, which is the AirPod in this case, and then I have a product on the right. And then they'll say, what do you mean? Because there's nothing. Can you see anything there? You won't, because it's almost disappearing behind my ear. Or when I pull it out, that's the hearing aid. Right? It's a beautiful little device designed in a way to disappear behind your ear. And the way this design is, you completely forget you have the device on. It's a little piece of computer in there. So inside this little package, you have 2 microphones that can do directional beamforming, because the job of this device is to bring sound from around the environment. And then the latest technology that we have embedded in there is a little microcomputer inside with a digital signal processor. And we're running machine learning and artificial intelligence real time in order to understand what kind of sound is there, because you don't want to blindly amplify everything that's coming in. So with the advanced techniques like machine learning and artificial intelligence, our device is able to distinguish human speech from machine noise to wind noise, music, quiet. And we are able to treat those sound differently with the power of machine learning. So we can amplify sound that it should be amplified for your experience, such as human speech. We don't want to amplify wind noise or machine noise. And so that is hearing aids, right? So you use the product to go around. There's an enormous number of people that need the help. Almost 500 million people have what is called disabling hearing loss, particularly when you are stuck at home and you want to connect well with your loved ones, you want this technology. So that was what was hearing aids. The opportunity for this industry was to adopt advanced sensors and advanced techniques in AI to convert this device into a multi-function product. So we have been able to turn this device into a fall detector. So if an older patient wearing the device falls down, the device has AI built in to automatically recognize the fall, and it sends an alert message to loved ones. And it's literally saving lives. So this is the first ever hearing aid in the history of hearing aid industry that does it. We also have other technologies that allows this device to track your physical activities. So you're able to know, how many steps have you taken today? You don't need additional sensors on your body. It tracks your exercise. And then it also tracks cognitive activity. So for example, people with hearing loss, they tend to withdraw from social interactions. And we know that's really bad for cognitive health. People tend to get dementia if they're not interacting with loved ones. So our device with machine learning is able to quantify not only physical activity, but also social engagement. Literally, it knows how much conversation you're having. So it gives you an indicator of your cognitive engagement, just like Fitbit does for physical activities. So I bring the example of iPhone. When Apple introduced iPhone, phones used to be single function devices. You use those devices only to make a phone call. Today, what do you do with your phone? You take pictures, it's your camera. You use it as your GPS device for navigation. You use it for internet browsing and many other things. The hearing aid prior to Starkey's Livio technology used to be just a single function device, sound amplification. With the advanced technologies, our latest products are multi-function devices that not only help people hear better, but it helps them live better lives through tracking health. The last thing I should mention, it is also connected to the cloud through a low energy Bluetooth connectivity to the phone, which is connected to the cloud. So this little device is also my personal digital assistant. Mm-hmm. So, it's I can simply tap my ear and ask a question. What's the weather outside? And it's giving me an answer in my ear. I could tap it and say, who won the Super Bowl in 1980? I don't really need to have all of those memories in my head, right? So literally, it brings the world of information at my fingertip privately into my ear. So that's the power of technology when you use breakthrough technologies to revolutionize an old category of products.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so a question I have for you, I mean, it's pretty incredible what is all in this technology. You have a hardware side, you have obviously the software side. As a CTO, that means that you have a lot of really great teams to work with. How do you make sure that they're all working together and kind of pushing towards that same goal of creating really great life-saving technology?
That's a great question. So suddenly, in any of the products that have been historically successful and have changed industries, if you look back, there were really two elements: the vision and the execution. The vision is about setting a direction, right? Because you have all of the talented people that you have to have in the team to build a product. But what is it that you're building, and why and how? Setting a vision for what do you want that product to be, that are going to be adopted. Are they going to solve real world problems? They are going to enable people to do things that they have not been able to. That's the vision. We are extremely fortunate to have Mr. Bill Austin lead us with his vision. And if you read about him, he's an amazing visionary in our field, right? Driven by the desire to advance human lives, help people communicate better. So that's the vision part. And then the execution. Bill Austin, just like other visionaries like to say, vision is never utilized to change the world unless you executed and brought products to market that actually really works, right? So there, I am fortunate to have been able to build an amazing team of complex hardware technology team. You look at the software, firmware, systems engineering, clinical validation, and then really mobile applications. And we're also fortunate to have an amazing sales and marketing team, customer enabling team. It's an end-to-end capability that we need to go from concept to products shipping in the market in the hands of millions of people. It's a very complex product, as I was trying to explain. In a tiny package, you got transducers, miniature transducers based on MEMS technology, micro electromechanical systems, really tiny pieces of sensors that are able to convert sound signals into electrical signals, and then processed by digital signal processor, which is the heart of the computer inside this little device. And then you have Bluetooth connectivity, extremely low energy Bluetooth radios that can connect hearing aids with mobile phones for streaming your phone calls. So I should have mentioned, why am I using these hearing aids? I do not have hearing loss, but I am using them as my Bluetooth headsets. So I can get all day battery life with my device, unlike consumer electronics Bluetooth headsets that you'll be lucky to get 3 or 4 hours of battery life. And even with my normal hearing, if I happen to be in a challenging environment, at a restaurant, noisy environments, I can go to my Starkey app and raise the volume of the world, right? So you raise the volume of TVs at home, right? So think of the power I have when I can raise the volume of the world around me. So amazing hardware, complex hardware technology. And then that's brought to life with algorithms that are increasingly from the fields of machine learning, artificial intelligence. I'll give you an example. Deep neural network, which is really the state of the art in artificial intelligence, that's enabling devices and technologies that have been unheard of even 10 years ago. Autonomous car, can you imagine? Cars driving on the road in much safer way than human drivers, enabled by this latest branch of AI. And we are adopting those to enhance speech signal in a complex acoustic soup of signals, as I like to call it, to understand what's speech and what's not, and enhance those. So you have these advanced algorithms translated into modules in firmware running on DSPs, digital signal processors, and then software running on mobile computers like smartphones through mobile apps, and also complex software on PCs that allows our audiologist professionals to acoustically and audiologically fit the hearing aid devices for their patients. So really a complex set of products that require complex engineering activities. So we have this amazing team of engineering that we have been able to build to take technologies from research to prototypes to product shipping in the market.
That's awesome. To your point of you're wearing it, you don't have a hearing problem. Do you guys see this expanding outside of just the hearing technology audience?
That is a great question. So I'll look forward a bit. First of all, I'll give your audience a bit of a sense of the current market for hearing aids and how it is evolving and where I believe this technology will lead the world to. So today, according to World Health Organization, about 460 plus million people have what is called disabling hearing loss. So disabling hearing loss is when you have 40 dB or higher hearing loss. So just to explain what that means, 40 decibels, when we are having conversations right now, we're probably making about 50 dB of noise. So when we speak with really, let's say, quiet voice and having a conversation, we might be in the 40 to 50 dB range. So people with 40 plus dB of hearing loss, they can only hear when you amplify sound by 40 decibels. That's a pretty significant hearing loss, and they will have lost productivity. They will have challenges interacting with their family members. So large number of people already need help with hearing today. The ways, unfortunately, things are looking, the World Health Organization predicts by, within the next 5 to 10 years, this number will almost double. There'll be almost 1 billion people with hearing loss because we are subjecting ourselves with these Bluetooth headsets, loud music, and just the noise around in the city areas to more and more noise, which tends to degrade our transducers, biological transducers in our ear, the hair cells, which are responsible for converting sound into neural signals. So when they degrade, we need technologies like hearing aids. So obviously there is this increasing market and need for hearing assistive devices. But here's the opportunity that I see for even people with normal hearing. You look at how computers evolved. Computers went from large room full of devices to desktop computers on your desk, to mobile computers like laptops in your bag, to smartphones in your pocket. What's next? As I explained, this is really a computer. It's connecting me to the cloud. If I can tap on it and ask a complex question, and this device is able to understand what is my spoken language meant to be. It's able to process that. It's able to fetch that information and send it to me. You are looking at a computer in my ear. Think of the power it can bring to me, right? I don't have to carry around multiple heavier gadgets with me. I can simply run around, and this device is going to be my personal communication technology. It's going to be my personal assistant. It's going to remind me when I'm supposed to take my medicine. It's going to give me turn-by-turn direction where I need to go. It's going to, with the sensors built in, it's going to track my biometrics and health parameters. It will alert me if my heart rate is abnormal or my blood oxygen level is not looking healthy. Or if I fell, it would alert my loved ones. So you're looking at the opportunity of in-ear assistive technology connected to the cloud with the computing capabilities that can pretty much turn itself into a device that everyone will want to have. You know, who imagined there'll be multiple billion smartphones out in the wild? Could you have imagined that 20 years ago? Right? Or go back 30 years ago, who would have imagined there would be such wide proliferation of laptops, you know, that were enabled by technologies from Intel and, you know, many other companies. So I see this infinite potential for in-ear devices that will enable us to do a lot more than we can do today. That's the potential for in-ear devices.
That's awesome. I love the vision for the future. I'm kind of curious on the product development side. When you want to add a new kind of revolutionary feature like that, what is the process and how long does it take to go from idea and concept to it's out in the world and people are using it every day?
Great question. So actually, I'm often asked, how did we, you know, hearing aids, Starkey has been selling hearing aids just like other hearing aid companies for many decades. And suddenly in the last years, what happened, right? We came up with this revolutionary multi-function product in a short span of time. So I think we brought a sense of urgency into the way we operate. We no longer go into analysis paralysis that could take multiple years just to vet concepts and, you know, play extremely safe. We want to move fast. We want to take ideas from scribbles on the board to you know, PowerPoint slides to working prototypes to tested devices tested with small number of patients to get confidence that, you know, we got the usability that's needed, to shipping products in a relatively quick time frame. And look, the price you pay is you're taking a risk with some features, and you know, but you have to do that. That's the price for innovation. We like to, Brandon Sawalij, our president, likes to say, we are moving at the speed of innovation. That's not the pace this industry has been used to, but that's the new mantra, the new philosophy we brought into this space. My team's excited. So we have structured our engineering organization into multiple functional blocks where we have a team of people that are moving fast in the research and advanced development side. They're literally creating advanced concepts at a lightning speed, because we want to literally quickly make prototypes that we can test, right, and see how well is it working. And then we have teams of engineering execution organizations around hardware development, software, firmware development, and then, you know, systems engineering, product testing. So we have this chain we've put together where you can move literally quickly from ideas to concepts to products.
Speaking of your team, and sorry, this is going to be one of those moments where we edit it a little bit. So you talked a little bit about taking risks. How has it been coming to Minnesota, which is known to be a little bit risk averse, a little bit slower than California, Silicon Valley? How's that transition been for you?
Well, so we have an amazing team, I have to say. So because we've been in this space for multiple decades, we have one of the best teams in the world to understand the complex acoustics associated with such small form factor devices. There are a handful of companies that know how to make good hearing aids, even smaller number of teams around the world that know how to make great hearing aids. You know, it's in the ear, you don't want it to have annoying sound amplification, which is literally going to be you know, bad user experience. We have amazing teams of engineers, and then we have built on top of that team. We have actually gone international. So prior to my time here, we used to have centrally located organization. We are now, we've expanded around the world. We have put together an advanced research and development team at the heart of Israel in Tel Aviv, where we have an amazing team of biomedical engineers, folks with expertise in machine learning that I put together since I joined. And in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, we have complemented our teams that with core expertise in hearing aids by adding people with expertise in machine learning, sensor technologies, artificial intelligence, systems engineering. We brought in a lot of new talent from outside to complement the organization that we already had. We're collaborating with large high-tech companies in Silicon Valley, Apple, Google, Amazon, and a number of other companies. So we have literally, we have to partner with companies. We have been partnering with other innovators in this space. You cannot do it all alone. So we have to build partnerships of win-win structure, which is allowing us to move at this much faster cadence and speed than the industry has been used to.
It's amazing to hear how much of an international presence you have. I'm kind of curious from the technology side. I'm sure there are different regulations across different countries. How do you factor that all in when you're creating a product that you're trying to scale, you're trying to sell millions of devices?
That's a great question. By the way, I should have also, you mentioned internationally, yes, truly, because we have built up a team in India that's responsible for developing amazing mobile applications. We're in China, we're in Europe, all over the world, because we sell around the world. So you have to expand and you have to go where the talent is as we are doing business around the world. The regulations you mentioned, it's an important one. Hearing aids are medically regulated product around the world. In the United States is class 2 medical product, so it's regulated by FDA. We work really closely with the regulatory bodies, making sure the technology is intended to provide the benefits and doesn't cause unintended harm. So the reception from our partners in the regulatory bodies on advanced features that provide additional help has been quite amazing. I'll give an example. This hearing aid, our latest product, is able to automatically detect fall when it occurs and send alert. That has never been part of specifications for a hearing aid, right? So they were obviously, when we had the technologies developed and we had high confidence that we are providing good accuracy in terms of false positives and false negatives compared to the single purpose fault detection sensors that you can buy in the market. So we had to work with our regulatory bodies. They understood this is actually then extending the benefit of the wearers and not causing any harm. So they enabled us and allowed us to bring this capability to the market. The digital assistant capabilities I mentioned, where the device reminds me when I have to take my medication, or allows me to simply tap and ask a question and it tells me the answer. So those are technologies that have been already there. I mean, you could accomplish those tasks with, when you are connected to your laptop or through your smartphones, right? So, but we are bringing those benefits to people with hearing devices going about their daily world. Regulators are actually happy about those. The idea that a device you paid for and are already helping you with an assistive technology can now enhance your lives in many different ways. But we are increasingly partnering with regulatory bodies as we are bringing in new sensing technologies. We want to measure heart rate. We want to measure SpO2, blood oxygen saturation levels. We want to measure temperature in your ear. And we want to use all of those data to make predictive assessment of your health. All of these are areas where we're working closely with regulatory bodies such that we'll provide the benefits to the patients.
Well, we're at time. I feel like we could talk to you for 5 more hours about this. But one more question before we wrap. As you mentioned, maybe 5 years ago, we wouldn't have thought of a device like this that has so many different uses that fits in your ear, you can't even see it. What are other things that we can expect from in the future for hearing technology that we might not think of today?
That's always a great question, a glimpse into the future. So what you can bet on is the rather exponential progress in technology that's happening around us. it's not just us, it's our partnership with multiple technology providers. We will ride the developments in fundamental computing technology advances, which is allowing us to integrate many more computing elements into tinier form factors, and at the same time consume lower power. So improve the battery lives, yet do more computation. Sounds science fiction, but that's amazing advances that are happening in technology. We will see us take advantage of higher and higher bandwidth communication technology. So if the world has gone from 2G to 3G to 4G communications, and then the world of 5G communication is in front of us, where the latencies of connecting to data centers will be much faster, will be much higher bandwidth communication, which will make every device, just like the smartphone in your pocket to the hearing devices in your ear, a lot more compelling. You will see us develop miniature sensor technologies for health tracking. We started with physical activity tracking, cognitive health tracking. You'll see us get deeper into physical health tracking. We want to know about your cardiovascular health. There are plenty of opportunities for us to provide real-time health tracking technology to our older patients and help them lead better lives. So all of these areas are literally, we are on the verge of an amazing transformation of what I would call computing technology in the ear that's not only providing the values of connecting with people, but also connecting with the world of information.
Wonderful. And for people who are interested in following along with this journey, where can they go?
Well, you could follow us along on starkey.com for sure. We have an amazing PR team and marketing team. So we're out there in social media, letting the world know about advanced technologies whenever we have a groundbreaking technology that we have, it's coming to market. Stay tuned for some amazing new launches that are coming up just in a few weeks. And we have a lot of exciting technology developments to share in the coming weeks, months.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Bhowmik, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.